Right, well, we will get started. And the only bad news for today is that my co-presenter, Sunny Swirsky, has been diagnosed with coronavirus, so she won't be joining us today. So we'll send her some healing vibes and wish her a speedy recovery. She was going to try to make it, and I said, nope, go lay down, rest, take care of yourself. That's what everyone would want for you. So welcome to the YWCA and Sexual Assault Crisis Services Empower Workshop for Trauma-Informed Yoga. And this will be presented by yours truly, Heather Labby. I am the Wellness and Membership Director at the YWCA New Britain, and I am also one of the mindfulness educators for the Sexual Assault Crisis Services. Oh, there we go. So this is one of the slides that Sunny usually goes through, but I'll just take a moment to make sure everyone is aware that the YWCA in New Britain does provide sexual assault crisis services through the Alliance to End Sexual Violence for the state of Connecticut. The services in New Britain cover the towns you see on the map here in orange, so the greater Hartford and Tolland County areas. Our services include a 24/7 hotline in English and Spanish, accompaniments through medical, court, and police procedures, short-term counseling, information and referrals, prevention education, counselor advocate trainings. The hotline is down there below, and it is, there's somebody there to answer 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And this can be shared, this information can be shared with someone who is a survivor of something that happened recently or at any time in their life. So please feel free when the PDF comes along to save this information and share as needed. And we've got someone else. Hello, Heather, welcome. All right, we'll move along. I want to make sure that everyone understands that this is a trauma-informed training. So folks are welcome to join late and leave early without any consequence at all. You always have the right to pass in any activity or experience or questions and answers or anything at all. So usually we direct chat to Sunny if you'd like a hallway moment, which means she would make a breakout room and you can go chat with her. Sunny, unfortunately, as I mentioned, isn't here. But if you do need to take a break, feel free to leave and come back as needed. And this is a non-fixing and non-judgmental training. So feel free to take what works for you and leave what doesn't. And I've decided I'd add this back in so that we can take a moment to introduce ourselves and say, well, hello there. And if you feel like participating and you want to unmute or add into the chat, I know Carrie won't mind being my wingman and checking the chat. So I'd love to hear you say your name so I know how to pronounce it the best way. And do you have a hair part preference? You might be thinking, why is this even a thing? But apparently it's a big deal now. And I went with the middle part today. I'm giving it a try. So we'll just play popcorn here, and I will, Renee, you've popped up, so say hello.
Hi, I'm Renee. I don't do a part normally. I just do a little ponytail and let it go where it goes.
She is partless.
She's partless. I love it. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Great. Renee, you want to pick who's going to go next?
Let me see who's here. Let's go with Maeve.
Hello, I'm Maeve. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a really good question. As you said it, I started looking at my part, like, what have we got going on today? Normally I'm a side girl. Normally I'm on, whatever my mirror image right now, but I part to my left, but just depends on the day. This curly crazy, I just let it do what it does, but.
Beautiful. I love it. Who's next, Maeve?
Let's go with Carrie.
Okay, I am definitely a side part.
Think you'll ever try the middle part, Carrie?
No, I don't know. My face is too thin for a middle part. I feel like it makes my face look too drawn. Definitely a side part girl.
All right, sticking with the side part. And then I think we have Heather left. Is Heather still here with us?
Hello. I might not be able to stay for the whole thing, but I wanted to come for at least part.
Thank you.
When I do wear my hair fully down, I guess my natural part is in the middle. So that's what I tend to go with because that's the way it naturally falls.
Excellent. So you're already part of the trend. You were ahead of the trend.
I didn't realize it was a hair part trend. That's how untrendy I am.
Excellent. And you're wearing green for St. Patrick's Day. That's
Yep.
awesome. Great.
Oh, I don't want to get pinched.
All right. And Sharon.
Naturally falls in the center every once in a while. If I want to mix it up and do a little something a little spicy, I go to the left.
I see. I love it. Great. Perfect. Thanks, everyone. That was really fun. Okay. So we're going to just together practice a soft. Did I miss anyone? Did I miss anyone?
No, I think that's everybody.
All right, great. So this is a little technique, a little mindfulness technique called square breathing. I like this practice because it's very simple. All you are going to do is count to 4 and eyes can stay opened or closed. It's easy to teach anyone. So if you'd like, just come to a comfortable seat in your chair. Maybe notice your feet on the floor. That's always a nice way to kind of invite yourself into the present moment. And so we're simply going to imagine in our mind or look at the picture here, a square. And I like to start as I would read at the top left-hand corner and move over and think, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, and rest, 2, 3, 4, and keep going in the circle. So let's practice that together. We'll just do 3 times around. And what I'd really love, if you're willing, is to just take a moment and see how you feel right now before we do this little practice together. So you might want to notice if there's a sensation in your physical body. Maybe there's some tightness or some weariness, or maybe in the emotional body. Maybe you're feeling a little anxious or tired. So just notice. No judgment at all. Maybe you're feeling absolutely terrific. And then we'll just see what the practice does, if that makes any change. So here we go. I will do the counting for you so you can just enjoy the breath. Here we go. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, rest, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, and rest, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Rest, 2, 3, 4. Maybe take a sighing breath. And if you feel like it, notice if there's any change in how you were feeling, physically, emotionally. Anybody want to share how that felt, how that experience was?
Yeah, this is Carrie. I feel a little more relaxed,
Mm-hmm.
but I just don't like the holding my breath. I don't know why I can't hold my breath. That's uncomfortable for me.
Yeah, then I would ditch that part.
Well, I started just inhaling slower so that I was kind of inhaling more into the hold, and I started exhaling a little sooner, so I kind of evened it out so it was more comfortable for me, but I like that.
I love that. Thanks for sharing that, Carrie. How about anybody else? Yeah, Heather.
I feel a little bit more centered and relaxed. I'm a little unsure of what to do in the rest 2, 3, 4 because I feel like that's kind of like another hold, and then I don't know how to like inhale again. Like I like the whole You inhale, you hold it, you exhale, but then the rest part seems a little awkward to me. I'm not sure exactly what to do.
Okay, I thank you for that feedback. So I have done it both ways, where I've called that a hold in between the exhale and the inhale, or a rest. And I've gotten a variety of feedbacks for that. I've heard that some folks like it better than a second hold, or what you've mentioned, that it's a little confusing. So feel free to exchange that with another just hold, and that can make it feel a little more balanced. So absolutely great feedback. Thanks for sharing that. Was there anyone else? And you can raise your hand. You don't need to. You can just unmute and jump on in. There's not too many of us.
This is Sharon. Just like when you had the hand visual, I like the visual of this too. This, I'll be able to hold it in my memory longer, pull it up. When I'm practicing it, I'll be able to see the square.
That's great.
And I've been doing a lot of the hand too lately.
Excellent, excellent. The other thing with this square breathing is, with everything, right? You modify it to what's working for you. So if you wanted to extend each side of the square, maybe using it as a practice for really, deepening the breath, you could certainly count to 5, count to 6, or make this more of a rectangle, right? And just like Carrie did, she sort of rectangled it out, which is brilliant. And so make this your own. Use it for centering, slowing down, calming the mind. It's terrific. And you can even use your hand and sort of draw a square, with your finger as you go. All right. Thanks, everyone. That was great. I love the feedback. All right. So who has practiced yoga? Anybody? Yoga practice?
What do you mean by practice? I've taken yoga classes. I don't
Yep.
know if I'd say I'm a practicer of yoga.
That's a great distinction, Carrie. Thank you. So yeah, a lot of us have maybe like taken a yoga class and said, nah, that wasn't for me, or wow, I love it. And now you're an instructor. I mean, we can be all over the place with this, right? So I just included this very quickly so that we're all sort of talking about the same thing. And so a lot of folks are like, what's yoga? And I forgot that there's a little bit of, I forgot to take out the animation. So forgive me for that.
Heather, I've taken a traditional yoga class, and because of my allergies and stuff, hanging upside down actually hurts more than it helps. So lately I've joined a couple chair yoga sessions that we've done here on campus, and I really like those because I feel like I can get some good stretches without having my head be upside down.
I totally understand. Yeah. Excellent. All right. So for our purposes today, we're going to think of, this is the general idea of yoga. This does not mean that it's the only way to think about yoga. This is just what you would find if you sort of Googled or looked on Wikipedia. Yoga is a physical, mental, and spiritual practice that originated in ancient India, first codified by the sage Patanjali in his Yoga Sutras around 400 CE. The word yoga comes from the ancient Sanskrit language and means to yoke or to unite. And then the modern Western yoga practices generally focus on an asana. So if you look over at the picture, you'll see that there are technically 8 limbs of yoga. An asana, or the postures, poses, shapes, are really one limb of Patanjali's yoga. So it generally focuses on the asanas, the physical poses designed to increase flexibility, strength, and balance. Asana is one of 8 limbs. And so we mentioned, have you taken a yoga class? What type of yoga do you enjoy? And have your experiences been positive, negative, or both? So Heather, thank you. You started us off with letting us know that you're not into headstands. I'm with you 100%. And Carrie, it sounds like you've taken some classes. How about the rest of the folks? Anybody want to chime in on what their experience with yoga has been?
This is Maeve. I have taken yoga classes for years. Really love it. I'm one of those people that I try to get everybody that I know to come with me. I've brought my dad, I've brought my mom, I've brought friends. And I've just always, tried different types, whether it be, like a flow or a vinyasa class or a heated class. I've enjoyed it in all ways. And I have found too, like going to sometimes maybe a different studio or a different teacher is really neat to experience. If I'm away, if I'm traveling, and I can look up a local class somewhere and take that. I really enjoy that too, because just like experiencing different instructors and different methods is really, really neat. I think it's kind of opened my, my experiences even that much more. So I love it. I'm a big fan. Not very good at it, but I'm a big fan.
I love
Still
that.
always trying to improve.
Yeah. And that's fantastic, because you bring up such a great point that everyone's experience of yoga and instruction of yoga can be very different. And I mean, in the Western world, we have just expanded yoga to all different types of experiences and intentionalities. And so it's great to try. I mean, I have done some power and heated yoga. And like Heather, that is not for me. I'm also not a huge fan of inversions. I get a little bit of vertigo. So I have found a style of yoga that works, but there's so much out there. And I always say to folks, if you've tried one yoga class and you left and you're like, nope, please give it another shot somewhere else with a different teacher, because generally speaking, you'll find, you may very likely be able to find something that works for you. Anyone else? Renee? I'm not calling on you. I'm just giving you an opportunity. Sharon?
I actually just registered for a 200-hour yoga training program.
Wonderful.
And part of it is the trauma-informed certification.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm going to be doing most of my work in the summertime when I'm off, but I registered now just to get a little bit of a head start.
Awesome.
Yay,
Well,
Yeah, thanks.
my daughter-in-law likes to take yoga. My grandson did yoga when he was at Montessori.
Beautiful.
So it's something we try to do like once or twice a night, once or 2 times a week, where we do some stretching and whatever before the end of the night so he can calm down to go to bed.
Great. Ah, that's beautiful. I am teaching the children at our daycare center now at the YWCA, and I'm having so much fun with these kids, 3 and 4-year-olds, and they are loving it. It's terrific. All righty. So we will move on to our next slide. And so we are going to have an experience right after this of trauma-informed, or trauma-sensitive yoga. So this is somewhat different than any of your other styles of yoga that don't bring in this trauma-sensitive or trauma-informed lens. There's all sorts of studios out there that are bringing a trauma-informed lens into their yoga. The gold standard is the Boston Trauma Center Trauma-Informed Yoga. And I have been trained through that program. I've had 40 hours of training at Kripalu Center up in Massachusetts. And I am registered for the year-long training to start next year. But trauma-informed or trauma-sensitive yoga, where it's different from traditional yoga, is that each class is geared towards all skill levels. So you won't find inversions or very difficult or technical instruction or postures in a trauma-informed or trauma-sensitive yoga. Each sequence would definitely be geared towards all levels, beginner to expert. Inclusive and easy to understand language. So if you've attended a class at a yoga studio, you've maybe listened to the instructor talk in a different language, Sanskrit, and that wouldn't be used in a trauma-informed setting. We wouldn't use words like postures or poses. Instead, we'll talk about shapes. The language will avoid triggers in any way. So even with body parts, something like the abdomen would be called abdomen, and we would move away from using something like belly or tummy. That's a little more sort of a squishy sort of word, or might have connotations. So we'll stay very specific. And there's like a helicopter landing in my backyard. You can hear that, sorry. And neutral body awareness. So you might invite, as an instructor in this class, or when you're taking a class, you'll be invited to notice sensations, but it won't be overt. It'll be a little bit more just general. There's invitational instruction. So the instructor is acting as a peer. The breathing won't be so connected to movements. You'll be guided towards natural breathing and just gentle mindfulness cues. So rather than, notice this or notice that, just you might notice, or just very gentle guidance. There's a non-fixing atmosphere, which means it's self-directed modifications. So an instructor who's using a trauma-informed or trauma-sensitive lens isn't going to dictate modifications or dictate fixing poses. It's a lighthearted mood. There's no judgment, and the intention is towards experiential rather than performative. So, the instructor won't show up in a very revealing outfit. There's just a lot of thoughtfulness that goes into making it a very low sensation experience. There's no physical contact. So you might have been in a class where an instructor offered to touch participants and adjust postures. That won't happen in a trauma-informed or trauma-sensitive class. There's thoughtful music selection, really thoughtful about lyrics. And if there's anything that might be triggering, particularly if you know the group, if there's a specific survivorship that is being addressed in the class. So for instance, I work weekly, twice a week, with survivors of sexual violence. And so I'm very thoughtful and don't even use any music. And my body cues are very nebulous. I talk about upper body and lower body, upper limbs, lower limbs. I wouldn't even say something like glutes or calves or anything like that. So I wonder if you have any questions or comments about that information. Is that what you expected before we get into our experience? Has anyone taken a trauma-informed or trauma-sensitive class? No, I can see Maeve shaking her head. Everyone else has gone off camera. They don't want to watch themselves do yoga. I understand. All right, I'm going to check the chat here. Renee says, nope. All right, so this will be a new experience. Terrific. All right, sounds like everyone's ready. And Sharon hasn't either. All right, fun. So right before we get into the experience, I love this little visual. I don't know if you've ever seen the learning circle. And this I really just sort of brings it all into focus for me. That center circle is where we feel safe. So that's where learning can really take place. And if you're a teacher, I know lots of you are educators, or if you've been you've been a student, that safe place, and those of you who've been with me throughout the series and you've learned about stress response, right? And we're always trying to get back to safety. That's the place where we just absorb information. We have this safe learning experience. Outside of that is sort of that challenge area, right? Maybe new information or new experiences. That's a growth area. So you'll be adding to your body of knowledge. And that's a good place to be. We want to be thoughtful about how long we stay in that area. And then there's overwhelm. And that's where sometimes trauma or toxic stress can happen. If you've been in a yoga class before, you might have heard an instructor in a typical yoga class say something like, find your edge, right? And I think about these circles. And I think about how in a regular yoga class, it might be really nice to move into that challenge area, sort of go to that edge of the challenge and see how far can I stretch, how big can I get, right? That kind of thing. But in a trauma-informed yoga class, we're going to stay firmly in that safe area. You won't even hear me use language like move to your edge or see how far you can go, because really the whole intention is about learning how your body feels and how you're experiencing this class. So trauma-informed yoga is not about growth, and it's certainly not about more trauma. So we're going to stay really in that safe zone, and you'll experience that next. Any questions about this? Has anyone ever seen this before? So we're going to go into a maybe 15-minute practice together. And my printer decided to be disappointing. So I'm going to use my other laptop to help me guide you through it. And right there, I will be sending the PDF along to Carrie. And that is a link to, I don't know if you've ever seen Toomey. It's this wonderful yoga sequencing software. And that link will bring you right to the sequence that we're going to practice right now. So if you want to download it or print it or have it at the ready, you are more than welcome to have that and use it anytime. All righty. Okay, there's one in the chat. Just want to make sure. All right, good. Excellent. And also the Toomey link comes with cues all attached to each one of the postures or shapes that we're going to be doing. So you'll have all of that there as well. So you can look at the language, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's get started. So Carrie took a moment and she switched out her chair because she was on rollers. But if you're on rollers, that's totally fine. We're not going to be doing anything dramatic. So just be mindful that your chair might roll a little bit and be ready to readjust. So if you'd like, you are welcome to maybe find your feet. Notice your feet on the floor, or if your feet are in shoes, maybe wiggle your toes a little bit. Notice the feeling of your shoes. And then if you'd like, you can notice the feeling of the chair holding you and supporting you. And you might want to notice your breath, just breathing naturally. And you're invited to close your eyes if that feels right for you. Make a soft gaze, maybe looking at the tip of your nose, or just keeping your eyes open and enjoying what's in front of you. Maybe you'd like to bring a little smile to your face and take another deep breath. So you're invited to just glance over your left shoulder. And then whenever you're ready, turn and look over your right shoulder. And you can connect that to breath if you'd like. Or you can breathe naturally and just move side to side. You might become aware of a little resistance in your neck. It might be more on one side or more on the other. And I would invite you to honor that resistance and not try to push past it. And just notice if it subsides a little bit with this gentle movement. And then the next time your face is in the center, just go ahead and come to stillness if you'd like. You can continue doing that movement for longer if it felt good. Now, if you'd like, you can join me in just tilting your head to the left. You might want to think about letting your ear drop towards your shoulder. And then whenever you're ready, you can just tilt your head over to the other side. And just like when we were looking over our shoulder, you can go back and forth at whatever pace feels good to you. And if you'd like, you can again notice where that stretching sensation is noticeable. So some folks might feel this on the sides of their neck. Others might feel this going down into their shoulders. And others might feel nothing at all. And that's totally fine. Again, we want to honor where there might be resistance and just go as far as it feels good and make any adjustments that you need to. And the next time your head comes up, you're invited to come to stillness. You might want to take a little breath here. Notice how you're feeling. And this time, if you'd like, we'll drop our chin to our chest. And then when you feel like it, you can lift your head and look up towards the ceiling. And moving back and forth between these two shapes. Once again, you might want to notice if you're feeling some stretch. Sometimes I think of this as feeling sort of spicy or like an elastic band. The sensation might be moving between your shoulder blades, or you might feel nothing at all. And you can continue this movement for as long as it feels good. Then the next time you come to the center, you can be still again. Terrific. How's everybody doing? Feeling good in the neck? So you can take a few shoulder rolls if you like. Just see how that felt. All right, I want to check the chat. Please. Oh, Maeve feels great. Excellent. So remember, this is a casual atmosphere. So if you want to say something or you've got questions, you can unmute or you can put it in the chat. I'll see it pop up and we can address it right away. All right, any questions at all? So now we're going to move our shapes down into our spine a little bit. So remember, all of these are optional. And if you don't feel like doing one, you don't have to. I'm going to turn my chair so you can see the shape I'm making with my back. I'm going to keep my hands on the tops of my legs. And we were doing this movement with our head before, and we're just going to exaggerate that if you'd like a little bit. And as our chin comes to our chest, we're going to let our spine sort of make a C curve pushing towards the back of the chair. And then if you feel like it, you can move through that, come up to the opposite shape, making sort of a U curve with your back and looking up at the ceiling. And so we've taken that neck movement and we've moved it down through the entire spine. And so if you'd like to notice how that feels, you can bring your attention to your spine. And perhaps you're hearing some sounds or you're noticing that sensation move down through your vertebrae. And some people won't feel anything at all, and that's fine too. There's always the option to connect a breath to this movement, and some folks might like to connect an exhale to the U curve or the C curve in the spine, or an inhale. And either way is totally acceptable. And the next time your spine straightens up, if you'd like to, you can stop and we'll try another shape. Or you can keep doing that. If it felt really terrific, stick with it. Whew, all right. We're going to take our left hand, if you'd like, and just sort of let it drop down by the side of our chair. If you've got a armrest, you can put your hand over the chair or under, whichever way feels most comfortable for you. And you're invited to take your right arm out to the side, point your thumb away from you with your palm facing forward, and bring that arm up to the side of your head and lean over towards the left if you'd like. Now you might like to stay in this shape for a little bit if it feels good, or you can bring it back anytime you like, and we can move over to the other side and bring the left arm over. Excellent. And you can go back and forth with this in whatever pace feels good to you. You can slow it down or you can speed it up a little bit. And if it feels good, you might want to notice how you're experiencing this on the side of your body. There might be, again, that spicy sensation or that stretchy sensation. I have one of my little preschoolers calls this, it feels like tacos. thought that was so cute. It's spicy, Miss Heather. I thought that was really adorable. So if you want to take a few more of these stretches, go right ahead, or you can come back to the center. And this is one of my favorites. So if you want to join me, we're going to bring our arms up to our shoulder height. And then we're going to turn the palms so that they're facing forward and then bend the elbows. So to me, this looks like an Arizona cactus, one of those big cactuses in the desert. And this is one of the shapes where you can attach some breath to it if you'd like, but it's certainly not necessary. You can just breathe naturally. But what I like to do is sort of push my elbows back behind me a little bit towards the back of the chair, take a big inhale, and then exhale as I bring my elbows and palms together in front of me. And your arms might touch or they might not touch. Either one is fine. And you can go back and forth between these two movements, inhaling if you'd like, and exhaling, elbows and palms together. So again, this might have changed where you're feeling that stretchy sensation to the upper back, maybe around your shoulders. And let's take one more of these movements. And we'll end this little movement with the arms out in the cactus. And what I'm going to do, and you're welcome to join me, is bring my fingers to my shoulders. And use your elbows to make circles in any direction that you'd like. So you can make little circles kind of quickly or big circles. You can go back and forth. You can change direction anytime you'd like. And just see how that feels. Notice any difference. Notice which feels better for you today. It might be different tomorrow. Change direction at any time. Great. And then come to stillness whenever you like and bring those arms back to that cactus. And you might like to just turn your palms back and up. And sometimes this will bring a lot of sensation, a lot of spiciness to the shoulders. And that is a little bit of strength building. Really good for us sitting at the desk all day. Whew. And whenever you've had enough of that spiciness, you can just come back to rest and maybe shake it out a little bit if that feels good. Yeah. And time is going by. So let's just do two more movements. I like to do this movement all throughout the day whenever I think of it, because it's great for the low back. So if you have any type of discomfort in the low back, or you sit for a long period of time, this is a great shape. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take both of our hands and move ourselves, like we're going to stay in the chair, but we're going to move our torso over to the left. And you can just use your arms, hold on to the back of the chair or to the side of your leg. The trick here is that because your arm might be on the back of the chair, it'd be really easy to go a little too far. So make sure both of your feet stay on the floor if you don't mind. That's a really good anchor to keep you from going too far. And just gently stretch. And take a few natural breaths if you'd like. See what's behind you. Maybe peek around the corner. You can move your head a little bit if you'd like. And then just take that over to the other side whenever you're ready. And again, it's a nice opportunity to use the soles of your feet as an anchor for the movement, just so you don't go too far. And take a few breaths. Maybe look around the corner. Move your head. See what feels good today. And whenever you're ready, come on back. And finally, just bring your attention, if you'd like, down to your feet. Maybe lift both feet up off the floor. A little bit of balance here. You might have to feel like you're doing a little bit of a sit-up. And just point and flex both of the feet. Feels good on the ankles. Make some circles with your ankles. Go in both directions if you'd like. Notice if your ankles go in the same direction together or different directions together. Everybody has a different experience of that. And then finish up, if you'd like, with wiggling your toes. And then bringing your feet back to the floor. And just noticing the room around you, maybe looking around. Bringing a smile to your face if that feels good. Any other little movements you need to make before we finish our practice together? Yeah, I like that. Carrie's doing a little dance in her chair. That's great. I would expect nothing less, my friend. All right, and just finish that up in any way that feels good for you. Here's the sequence. So this is a slide, a screenshot I took of the sequence for you. So you'll have that as well as the link. And Sunny was going to do a little guided meditation for us, but we've sort of run out of time. So if folks want to stay, I can certainly do something like that. But I'd love to leave an opportunity for any comments, discussion, questions that might have come up from this experience. So I'm going to be quiet and let you unmute. And I'd love to hear what you thought about that experience and answer any questions or take any comments.
This is Maeve. I just want to say thank you. That was like super nice and relaxing. And
Great.
I had a friend call me on the side when I was muted here, and she just said, "How are you doing yoga in a chair?" And I said, "I gotta go. I'm doing this workshop." But I think it's really cool that I think a lot of times when we think of yoga, we think of like being on a mat on the floor in that traditional setting, and that, you know, but it's just neat because I haven't really done too many of the, I think I did one other session a couple of weeks back, but it's just really cool to know that you could still kind of have that, that mind body connection experience, even from sitting at your desk. And it's a constant reminder to me with the breathing, with the meditation, with, you know, making those small movements that it can be so beneficial in the long run, especially for those of us that are at our desks. At home with, you know, not the most ideal setups for all of us all the time either. So just wanted to thank you and say that was really, really great. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. I mean, you know, you may have noticed that it's a very gentle practice, and I teach trauma-informed yoga on the mat as well, where we, you know, certainly get into shapes that are a little more technical. Some of the shapes you would know, like child's pose or tabletop or downward facing dog. I wouldn't call them that. I would just call them upside down V shape, or, you know, these shapes like you heard me do in our chair practice. But it's always still very gentle, and there is a very light turning inward. That's really the best way I can describe it. You might have heard me say, you might feel this, you might feel that, because some folks who have had significant trauma are not really feeling what's going on in their body. And so one of the great things about this type of practice is it's so accessible that it allows for people who maybe don't feel safe in their bodies due to car accident or sexual abuse. It could be anything, physical abuse, to have that opportunity to feel again, oh, I'm creating that sensation. So this is great for kids. It's really terrific. And it makes it so welcoming, because I hope you had the experience of feeling throughout the entire experience that it was totally up to you. You know, if you wanted to, you could. If you didn't, if you wanted to go the other way, great. Yeah, excellent. Anybody else? I'd really love to hear your comments. No pressure, but.
This is Carrie. I mean, I'm used to taking classes and, you know, oh my God, I got to follow the instructor and it's got to be exact.
Right.
This was just so nice to just be able, well, I want to do that slower because it feels good. I don't have to keep up at a certain pace. It was really nice to have the freedom to do what felt good for my body. And that's what I really liked about it.
Oh, I love that comment. Thanks, Carrie. That's great.
This is Maeve. Heather, I do have one more question for you, and forgive me for not knowing if folks already know the answer to this, but where do you teach?
That is a great question. So I teach through the YWCA in New Britain. Right
Okay.
now, my yoga classes though are online. And so I do them through Zoom, and I have, I would say that my classes right now are very accessible for all levels. And they're probably taught at about a 75% trauma informed. I don't market them as trauma informed, but I really don't teach in a more traditional way anymore. I've been so ingrained in this practice. So if you like that style, you're welcome to join us. Carrie can help you with that link, and or connect us via email, and I can make sure you have that opportunity to give it a try.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
And Carrie and I will also talk about, there may be opportunity for me to offer this through the school. So yeah, that'd be terrific. Thanks. Good question. Anybody else? Don't be shy. All right. Well, I can hear my husband snoring downstairs, so maybe some folks fell asleep, and that would be fine. Falling asleep in yoga can be really delightful. I've done it myself. That darn Shavasana gets you every time. Oh boy. All right. Well, I'm going to stop sharing because then I can see everyone. Yay. All right. So last opportunity to have some questions or comments about that experience.
This is Carrie. I'm just so glad everybody joined, and it looks
Me
like
too.
I think Sharon's still here. I thought she was supposed to leave. Maybe she.
Yeah.
There she is. Yeah, you got to stay.
Terrific.
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you so much, Heather. I really appreciate it. This is wonderful. And yeah, I do have to get going. I got those kids at home I got to get to. So
Absolutely.
thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Sure thing. So everyone, put it on your calendar for next Wednesday. We'll be doing some breath work. So in the yoga circles is called pranayama, but we will just be doing breath work together. Lots of fun opportunities, a little more technical than some of the stuff we've been doing together so far. So we'll have to put our thinking caps on a little bit and do some things for calming, some things for actually creating energy in our bodies, and then another one for focus. So when you start to feel a little frazzled, this is a great technique for bringing your brain back into focus. All right. Well, that was perfect. And thanks, everyone. I'm so humbled and honored to be enjoying this community that we've created. And I hope you have a terrific day, and take care, y'all.
Thank you so much, Heather. Your personality is just perfect for this. I love all your workshops. So thank you so much.
Thanks. Thanks, Maeve. Thanks, Heather.
And
Wendy.
thank you,
Heather.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Bye, Jennifer. Thank you so much for translating.
Bye.
Bye, Renee. Take care, my dear. Bye.